Hi, and welcome to the Men on the Path to Love podcast, exposing the hidden affair with work, choosing love over career episode. I'm Bill Simpson, your host. I coach men who are done suffering in their relationships, men who want deeper love, real connection, and to finally feel like themselves again. I help them become the best version of themselves and for their current relationship or the one they're ready to find, so they can live the life they love. This episode is being released on Labor Day, so I thought it would be a good time to tie in a topic I'd been thinking about for a while. This topic hits close to home because there was a time in my own life I was guilty of having an affair, and this time not with another woman, but with my work. And maybe you can relate. You see, years ago, when I opened my own holistic health practice, I poured every ounce of my passion into it. It felt alive, exciting, and full of possibility, much more so than my marriage at the time, which had become a roller coaster of ups and downs. And I remember my ex-wife once telling me, "It feels like you're having an affair with your business." And she wasn't wrong. The truth was, I felt more energy and passion for my practice than I did for our relationship. Work became a safer place for me. It gave me a sense of affirmation, a sense of progress, and a sense of control, things I wasn't experiencing in my marriage. But looking back, it wasn't just about passion for the business. It was also about fear. Fear of not knowing how to show up fully in my marriage, where I was feeling I was losing my identity. And I know I'm not alone. I've heard this from so many men. They throw themselves into work, telling themselves they're being a good provider, right? But inside, they're suffering. Psychologists have a name for this: workaholism as avoidance. And research shows that men often use work as a socially acceptable way to escape from the emotional discomfort at home. A study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family found that men who felt underappreciated in their marriages were significantly more likely to increase their work hours. Why, you may ask? Because work gives them clarity and focus, gives them tasks, rewards, and recognition, while home life can feel kind of messy, too vulnerable and unpredictable. And the irony, of course, is that the harder a man works to provide, the more disconnection his relationship becomes, and both partners end up feeling disconnected and unfulfilled. And this brings me to the story of Desi and Lucy. Not their real names, of course. Desi was a luxury car salesman. He prided himself on being a good provider. He put most of his energy into work because at home, he felt unappreciated. Lucy loved the lifestyle his income afforded, but she rarely acknowledged Desi directly for it. She only seemed to acknowledge him when she wanted something. And to keep the peace, Desi gave her what she wanted. And to keep up with Desi's spending, he even requested extra hours at work. But the more he worked, the less he was home. And soon, Lucy began to suspect that Desi was having an affair. And when she confronted him, Desi finally broke down and admitted, "I'm not seeing anyone else. I'm working to give you the things you want." But Lucy didn't believe him. She was like, "Nah," and she got all defensive, and that was the breaking point for Desi. He blew up and was like, "Fine, you want to know the truth? I'd rather be at work than here with you. I don't get any respect around here, and you're ungrateful. At least at work, I feel valued and respected." Well, Lucy was shocked. She had never heard Desi be so blunt. And while it was painful, it was also real. And instead of fighting back, Lucy softened and she regretfully realized that she had been taking him for granted. And for the first time in their relationship, they both got real with each other. They decided to try couples counseling. And there, Desi learned how to set boundaries with both his work and with Lucy. He practiced being more open and vulnerable about his feelings and his needs. And Lucy began to look at what was underneath her urge to spend and how to become more emotionally available for Desi. This was the wake-up call they both needed. Their relationship grew stronger, not because Desi worked harder, but because he learned to work less and to love more. So I use Desi and Lucy's story because it's not unusual. According to research, the number one thing couples fight about isn't money. It's feeling unappreciated. Money and work are just the surface. Underneath the surface is the question, do you see me? Do you value me? Do you respect me? And when men hide behind their work, they avoid these questions. But when they finally take the risk to be vulnerable, saying, I feel unappreciated, or I feel disrespected, or I need more connection, that's when real intimacy can grow. So let me ask you, have you ever buried yourself in work to avoid the discomfort of your relationship? Be honest with yourself. Do you tell yourself you're providing when in reality you're hiding? What do you think might change if you brought even half the energy you give to work back to your relationship? Think about it. Choosing love over your career doesn't mean abandoning your ambition or your success. It means not letting work become the affair that robs your relationship of connection. And man, I've lived this. Desi lived this. And if you're honest, maybe you've lived this too. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to stay that way. Love grows when we risk being real, when we choose vulnerability over avoidance, and when we decide that no career success is worth the cost of feeling emotionally disconnected at home. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. And if you're hearing this and deep down you know you're hiding in work because you're already done with your relationship, then please have the courage to be honest, man. Don't keep up the charade. It's not fair to her, and it's not fair to you. And if this episode has hit a chord with you, and if you're ready to stop hiding behind your work and start showing up in love, then do something about it. Subscribe to this podcast right from my show notes, or you can join my email list and check out the resources I've created to help you on your path to love. Just go to menonthepathtolove.com. All right. My quote this week comes from Dolly Parton with some down-home wisdom. She says, quote, "Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life," unquote. And on that note, I will punch the clock on this Labor Day edition of the Men on the Path to Love podcast, exposing the hidden affair with work, choosing love over career episode. My name is Bill Simpson. Thank you for listening. Now, coming up on the next episode of the Men on the Path to Love podcast, the other day I was thinking about how grateful I am for the relationship I have with my wife, Karen. After 3 divorces and doing a lot of healing work along the way, I was able to attract this woman who had also done her healing work, bringing a sense of individual wholeness to a thriving, almost 17-year relationship. And as a healed man, it's not about being perfect or problem-free. It means being self-aware, being responsible, and committed to growth. Having the courage to face old wounds, the strength to be vulnerable and emotionally available. And that love is not filling a void, but sharing each other's wholeness. Please join me for the Healed Man's Path, How Healing Yourself Changes Everything in Relationship episode. And if this podcast resonates with you, or you know someone you think needs to hear it, then please share the link to this podcast and share the love. And until next time, keep your heart open and stay on the path to love.